Hey, what's going on, guys? Elliot and Morgan back at it with another movie review, and this time it's for the film
BlacKkKlansman, another Spike Lee joint.
Yes,
it's
it
actually a true story, and it
It's
just
crazy,
so happens to be produced by Jordan Peele. So we've got a really dynamic duo
director,
there.
producer, yeah.
Yeah, and right along with that, we have an amazing cast.
Awesome
we
cast.
have John David Washington, Denzel Washington's son. We've got Adam Driver in it. We have Topher Grace, Eric Foreman from that 70s show, and then we also have Laura Harrier. So this movie is about Ron Stallworth, played by John David Washington, a black officer from Colorado who successfully manages to infiltrate the local KKK with the help of a white surrogate who eventually becomes the head of the local branch. So we've got a good story here.
Yeah, and you guys, if you've probably seen the trailer, I mean, it is just hearing that, reading that, it just sounds so crazy. I remember I don't know if it's in correlation to Dave Chappelle. If you guys ever watched the Dave Chappelle show, he had something similar, but a little bit more ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, you just read the synopsis, and it just sounds crazy. But guys, we are here to talk about this movie. We're going to talk about the positives, some performances, some standouts, some negatives, and then give you guys a score. And also, just a little discussion. We want to make this an open discussion to everyone. So please leave some comments below. Again, appropriate comments that are, enhance the conversation, nothing hateful, but we definitely want you guys to engage in this and leave some comments about our review as well as this movie. So starting off up top, I want to talk, like you said, we have an amazing cast. So that's where I want to kind of start, is these performances. Were there any standouts for you in this film?
Yes.
Yeah.
John David Washington, hands down, who plays Ron Stallworth, just amazing. I agree. Loved him. So he was definitely my top of the list, my most favorite performance. And then I also did enjoy him and Adam Driver's dynamic.
Yeah, Mr. Kylo Ren himself. They had definitely some good chemistry. I'll piggyback off that. I really love their dynamic on the screen. And also, too, there was another gentleman. It was like 3 police officers, Ron Stallworth, Adam Driver played a character named Flip, and there was another guy. I just like their chemistry on the screen. But also, too, some other standouts.
Well, actually, Adam Driver plays Ron Stallworth.
Yeah, technically speaking, yeah. So he does play him. He does a good job. But some other standouts for me, too, even though these are terrible people in real life, but the members of the KKK that was most.
There was one guy, and I'm going to see if I can find him. Yeah, I don't know. But the tension that he brought to the movie, his character Felix.
Yeah. He was definitely out of the main group.
Just
of the
made
KKK,
you uncomfortable and irritated and so many.
Yeah, and like I said, even though he was meant to play a bad guy, I think he did a good job at doing so. Some other standouts too, like you say, Adam Driver, David. Honestly, I don't know if it will happen, but I can see maybe John David getting nominated for something. Because I really think he walked away. This was his first big major picture film. Yeah. I know he has credits on TV like Ballers, which I haven't seen, but I hope to see him more. I mean, it must run in the family because Denzel's one of my favorite actors of all time. So on to, from some performances that stood out, like I said, John David, Adam Driver, but going on to Spike Lee. This is a Spike Lee joint. He's one of my favorite directors of all time. I mean, I think
Do the Right Thing, one of my favorites. Crooklyn, very, very, he's awesome. My sister actually met him. By the way.
True story. Another true story there. But yeah, I mean, Spike Lee is just great. And I think he did a great job of directing this film. Because again, you read the synopsis, and I think the trailers kind of play it off as more comedic than what... to me, the movie was more dramatic than it was, because it happened to have funny moments, because it's a very serious subject. Yeah. So I thought that the trailer, showed you the lighter moments, but when you see the movie, it definitely hits hard as far as the dramatic moments and the movies in the parts of the movie that were really kind of tough to watch as far as the stuff that's going on. So I thought Spike Lee did a great job of balancing that as far as being serious when it needed to be, but also having some comedic moments. So I thought this was one of his better movies, in my opinion. He has a great resume.
Honestly,
but this is one of my favorite movies by him.
I was gonna say, this is like one of my favorite movies I've seen this year. I think I really enjoyed it. Very good movie. Good story.
We'll get your score at the end, but I totally agree with that.
Sorry.
I would have to say as well.
Spoiler alert.
One of my
Clearly,
favorite
I thought it was
movies
good.
in the movie too.
Yeah.
So on to some story points of the film that I really thought worked well, which was seeing and not giving too much away, but there is, you have Ron Stallworth, who's given this particular mission that deals with a certain community or certain group of people, and also Adam Driver being infiltrating the KKK. And it's like how the parallels of these two characters kind of played out, and kind of how that story kind of played out.
Yeah, and also you see like the Adam Driver, he learns a lesson in doing this. Mm-hmm. So that was, I felt like a really, really strong part of the movie.
Yeah, and I mean, Adam Driver's character and Ron Stallworth, they're acknowledging their heritage and their culture, but at the same time they kind of feel out of place at moments in the film. And I just thought the way that those two characters played that dynamic worked really well. The idea of not feeling like you're fitting in, or if you're have
to
a certain
this,
thought.
to that,
exactly.
Not enough of this, not enough of that.
And I thought that played out really well throughout the movie, as well as just the idea. I mean, this, again, I can't get over that storyline. This is a true story that a black man was able to get, invited or get initiated in the KKK. Obviously, he wasn't there,
he was a part of it.
Yeah,
still it's wild. Wild.
Some other things too. I think this is so cool, as we brought up. He is Denzel Washington's son, John David Washington. But I think it's cool that Spike Lee was able to go to this. Kind of just go to, because I think this is like him and Denzel has done like 4 or 5 movies together. It might be more than that or less than that, but I just thought it was super cool that we were able to see. Denzel
and oh my gosh,
son.
He sounds just like his father.
He does.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he has his own flavor to his acting style, but you can definitely tell that
just his voice, like in interviews. I'm like, if your eyes were closed, you would think it was Denzel talking.
It's really, so definitely in the family there, but also too, going on some other things too. I thought that the movie, the way it starts, kind of sets the tone. You have a cameo at the beginning of the movie, kind of let you know what you're getting into.
Right.
And we'll talk a little bit more about the ending, but the ending kind of landed really well too. So I just thought that the movie just really, throughout the beginning all the way to the end, just worked phenomenally in my opinion. And even though, like I said, the story was kind of a ridiculous story, you felt these characters were real. They were grounded in the real world. And again, I thought the portrayal of these characters was really well. So kind of going into a little bit of negatives. Again, we're going to give you guys a score here, but just thinking of some things. There was a particular member of the KKK, and you brought it up while we were watching the film, that didn't seem like he would be a member. I don't know how he was a recruit or how he made it. The actor that did this is someone that works with Spike Lee a lot, so I know that he probably wants to, have him in this movie, but I thought it was a member that I don't know how that would have worked out.
Sure, yeah.
And then another little small thing too, some other negatives. It's really not that many that I could think of, but sometimes for me, even though I like the portrayal of the KKK members, and they were obviously terrible people, but they came off a little cartoonish at times to me. I didn't feel like they were too intimidating, unless you count towards the end. But that's just a little small for me.
I think though in the movie, they were trying to play to a point like they were non-violent. Mm-hmm. So I think it kind of worked in a way, the way they were. So, and then I think for me, the only real, and it's not a negative really, but Adam Driver has such a strong voice. Mm-hmm.
Very distinct voice. Yeah.
Very distinct voice. Mm-hmm. Like, we first knew of him from Girls, okay? So, like, I just always see him as that character. And then now Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
But see, Girls, so many seasons, and, like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Anyway, he has a very, like, distinctive voice.
For sure.
And the voices didn't match. Yeah, even in the movie, they were, like, rehearsing the voice. And it's like, why are you guys doing this? Because Adam Driver just cannot make his voice sound anything different.
Like it. And again, you're on the phone. And sure, sometimes I've had the case where you hear someone on the phone and meet them in person.
Well, they address it in the movie at, like, the very first interaction. They do address it. So I was glad that they at least addressed it. But I'm just like, man, these people. But maybe they were really that. They were clearly that dumb.
It was the 1970s. I would imagine maybe the phones didn't have the strongest signals,
or
they're just that. Yeah, it could be. And plus,
So I kind of chalked it up to that. But I was just like, man, Adam Driver's voice is so distinct.
Yeah, and like I said, you would never think that would have happened, that someone would have been faking to call in to get into the group. So, but that's just
a good thing Adam Driver doesn't, like, do imitations or anything. Because it's like watching John David Washington in interviews and stuff, he sounds so different from the movie. So it's like, some people just can't do other voices except their own, I guess.
But wrapping up this video, guys, with our score, I think we're on the same page. We talked about this when we saw the movie. It came out a week ago and we saw it earlier this week, but 5 out of 5 for me. It's one of my favorite films of the year so far. I think we've given a couple fives away. I think with Black Panther and there was another movie that I can't think of right now, but this is definitely up there.
This movie was so good. And the reason I give it a 5 out of 5 is because it truly gave me like all the feels. Yeah. Like there were comedic moments, and then there were, I mean, you're rooting for these, you know, certain characters. And I mean, I cried in the movie multiple times. There were moments where you're like angry. I mean, there were moments where people in the theater, including myself, were like, are you like making, you know, like little noises, like really? So it was just a good theater experience. And it just really, it was really good. Yeah, it was a really good movie.
I mean, and we touch on it a little bit, we won't give too much away, but there's an ending of the film that I thought really hit home as far as, you know, obviously this movie takes place in the 70s, but it just shows you that a lot of the stuff that was going on there
is definitely a parallel
kind of rolls into the current times.
Now.
And I won't give too much away about that ending, but I thought it was very powerful. I thought it was
I literally was crying like a baby.
Yeah, it kind of made things real because you're watching the movie and then you go to, I know a lot of people don't feel this way, but you know, well, I should say people go to movies to escape the real world and want to get away from things that are going on. Right. But I think a movie like this, it kind of reminds you, it hits you, not that it beats you over the head with a message, but it hits you and lets you know, hey guys, someone has to say it.
There's things that need to be addressed.
And
checking privilege, where it is, and it was a very powerful movie and a very powerful beginning and ending, all the way through.
Like
it was a great movie.
Spike Lee did a good job of showing. This is many. I mean, we can talk about this movie for hours, guys. I mean, there are little things like showing that there's certain police officers that are in the police force. Obviously, we have in the political climate and in the climate now, you know, a lot of things going on with, you know, people being killed by police officers. But I think like Spike Lee had a message that not all police officers are bad, but I mean,
he was not coy. I mean, he was just outright like, this is the way it is, and this is the way I see it. And I really think that this is a movie for everyone.
For sure.
And I really think that if you're going to see any movie this year, it should be this, because this is something that's important and needs to be talked about and addressed. And it was a great movie. Yeah,
and I mean, even though we got all this crazy stuff with the Oscars, so with them bringing in a new category, I hope to see this movie get nominated for something, whether it be you know, supporting actor, director, script, or whatever the case may be. I mean, I think this film needs to be continued to be talked about for the rest of this year and into next year. So 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5. We can't recommend it enough. Definitely go check it out. BlacKkKlansman is in theaters now. Really good movie, guys. And like I said, we could have kept talking about it for many, many hours, but it's really, we really can't recommend it enough. So as always, like, share, comment below. Again, let us know what you guys thought about the film. Let us know what you think as far as your favorite Spike Lee movie. But again, with the comments, agree, disagree, just be nice to one another in the comments, because it is a movie that has some, it's not a happy-go-lucky film. It's not a, you know, a kid's film, so it definitely has a topic that can cause a lot of, you know, discussion, but again, some positive discussion there. So definitely check out some other content on the channel. We just did a review for Mile 22, so check that out. Follow us on all of our social media accounts, from Facebook to Instagram to Twitter to Stardust to all that stuff. So definitely that's in the description below, so follow us there. And as always, guys, subscribe to our channel. We will see you on our next video.